My technique and the way I do things as an artist are a little backwards and a little different. I'm more of a painter and I like doing other stuff. I mix it up from time to time and I use whatever is at my disposal. From paint to color pencils to markers to gouache to dried gouache, everything. I've never been good with oils or acrylics, but in art, there's thousands of ways of doing things. It's more important to find your own way, but I'm a little backwards in the way I use my media. Being self taught, some people think, well, is it all reference? And that reference is only a part of it. It's a little bit of a crutch on my end, but also I sometimes you can do stuff from your own head. Having magazines and things around you to take influence from is important in a way, and you don't always have to have the good stuff all the time. You can certainly have just the normal everyday art supplies. There are gives and takes, but figuring out how to blend, how to do certain things, finding your own way of doing things is more important. How I basically do my techniques, I'm nowhere near perfect with my art style or with anything. No artist is. You can take influence from comics and try to draw it, and you'll always see the defects and things. With digital, I'm nowhere near perfect. And with painting and oil markers, you always can learn something new that you didn't know before. Especially if you're learning this right out of the gate. You can certainly learn it from school and college, but when I pencil and then paint, it's always in the back of my mind using reference and coming up with the composition and figuring that stuff out right off the get-go. And it's always amazing. Learning something new when you're inking or you're doing something with digital or you're just having fun. And that's the best part of art, is just learning. Taking influence from life is just as important. But to be honest, no artist is the best in a certain media. Every artist has something to learn, and every artist is critical. You can certainly be a little bit envious because their work can be so much better, but they were just at where you are years ago. So it takes time and the patience. Sometimes when I'm drawing and the techniques that I learned, taking influence from life can be just as important. Sketching the everyday to day. Because things can be, if you're drawing things from your own mind, sometimes it can be distorted when you're a little bit, when you're compared to looking at a reference. Things come back a little different if you're remembering it. And that has been something that is hard to deal with and hard to work with when you're doing art. It's always important to do research on your subject. It's always important to figure out the ins and outs of the composition before you even do it. If it's a bigger piece, it's vastly important to understand what you're trying to accomplish, what you're trying to do, whether it's digital or not, whether it's just a painting, to understand the lore and the composition, the lighting, and understanding techniques on lighting and shading can be key in a lot of fronts, especially on the human figure or just in background, understanding things, lighting and form, and understanding blending and everything else in between can be key in a lot of senses. Even in my own techniques and learning it on my own, it can be very difficult to understand that stuff. But self-teaching myself, it can be important to go to art school and learn that. And it can be very important also just to study it from your everyday life and just at day to day, understanding, building structure and form and value and perspective. Every artist uses these tools in their work every day. And understanding them, even for myself, can be very difficult, but you learn and you will succeed. It's always important you can find your own way of using these tools and figure that out. It can be difficult, but it's very important to understand them. No matter what, as an artist, figuring out your own techniques and learning from them can be very helpful.